Hey guys, it's Doug with North Table Mountain Christmas Lights, and I want to do a quick follow-up video here because I've learned there actually is a simpler way to model the base of the mega tree in X lights using the spinner model. In the first video I mentioned how the spinner model did not allow individual start channels to be selected, but that actually is incorrect. It was just user error on my part. I was not configuring the spinner model properly to allow the individual start channels to be selected. But that's a great thing with the forums and the Facebook group is we got a great community of people here who are willing to help and show you if you're making a mistake or have a mental roadblock or whatever it may be. So many thanks for the users here who pointed this out and have helped throughout the years as I've learned X-Lights coming over from Vixen for me. Anyhow, we'll start here with the spinner model because that's what this is all about. So I'll put a spinner model in here. And I'll show you this for a number of reasons because once we actually set this up, we'll go into the sequencer and I'll show you the way this is set up right now will actually not render properly. So there are a couple things we have to do in addition to setting the start channels and to make this render the way we want it to. And so it's just better to show you in the sequencer why it's doing it wrong. So we will do that after we set this up. But initially, the default spinner here starts off with one string and 5 arms of string. So this is where I was getting a little roadblock here as I was putting 32 strings for my 32 string megatree, and as you can see this individual start channels here is grayed out. But that's not correct. What we want to do is set this up as 32 strings at 1 arm of string, and in my case my tree has 19 pixels on each arm. So that will set up our spinner model. And while I'm here, I'm just going to rename this Megatree Base, and that'll sort it here alphabetically, make it easier for me to find. So now that that's done, I can come here and select individual start channels, and it opens up the drop-down box with all the individual start channels. And these, of course, are all pre-populated based on the information that we fed it of 19 pixels a string, and it doesn't, we're going to have to put our own start values in here. And we do this as a shadow model. So if you recall from the first video, I have created another megatree model, and this was the first one that we created, and this combines everything. This combines both the bottom section and the upper section, so I have a combined 72 pixels of string on that, and I have assigned this a start channel. In my case, it's Universe 300 start channel 1 for my megatree. And so that's important. So once this is done, then we come back here to the default view and you set up both the megatree upper section and the base, which we'll now do here as a spinner, as shadow models onto that megatree. So I will just do the base here, and we will start here. The base, of course, being at the center of the tree. The very first string is indeed the first pixel that comes off the controller. So this will remain as a start channel 1, but we need to make it a shadow model. So we click this little box here, and that brought up this start channel box here that we can assign. So we want this to be at the start of the model of megatree, and that will make this a shadow model. So start of model, megatree, and we're start channel 1. So we'll hit OK, and that'll type this in as at megatree start channel 1. The next one, I'll do one more time here, start channel. We want megatree. No, not shadow. There we go. Didn't want to scroll there for a second. Megatree. And this one, the start channel, is going to be 217. And as a recap of how we get these numbers, we need to, the calculator here, obviously we have 72 pixels total per string, so the start channel from the very first string on the base up the megatree and back down to the next string is 72 pixels total times 3 channels per pixel, and that's 216 channels separate each start channel of every row of the 32. So we start at 1 plus 216, and that's 217, and then you just keep hitting enter. 433 will be the next one, 649, 865, and so on. So that's how we derive those start channels. I'm going to close that calculator window because it's easier for me to work here with the calculator off to the side, and I will enter these in. A quicker way as well, rather than actually opening up this box and selecting it, is just to copy and paste. So I'm going to highlight here the megatree, the at megatree, and the colon. I'm going to copy that, and then I can come here and just paste, and then just type in my numbers. So paste, and then 433. The next one is going to be 649, and so on. I'm going to go through here and type these all in. Feel free to keep watching as I do this, but that will be like watching paint dry, so you may want to skip forward a couple minutes to where we actually start working on the tree. So the next one, we have 865. 1081, no. Doug, you have to put paste first. 1081. 1297. 1513. 1729. 1945, 2161, 2370. Hit paste. Next one, too fast there on the keyboard, 2593. See, this is just like watching paint dry. Riveting excitement here. 2809. This one is 3025. And if you recall, I mean, this is really no different than you do it on the actual megatree. The only difference there is instead of the first pixel in the string, it's the 20th pixel, because we're accounting for the 19 pixels on the for the base, and then the very first pixel for the upper section is going to be obviously the 20th pixel in the string, and so that's just how you start the start channels are just skewed by those 19 pixels, but that's how you derive the start channels for the upper section. So it's the exact same process of tediously hitting the calculator and typing them in, but it only takes a few minutes. And once it's done, then you're set up just fine. 4105, getting there. Next one is 4321, 4537, 4753, paste it first. 4969. Home stretch here. 5185. 5401. 5617. 5833, 6049, 6265, 6481, and finally we're going to end on 6697. I'll hit save. Now 6697 should match, we did it right, to what I have here on 32 of my hand-drawn ones. So 6697, that matches. So now this is shadow modeled onto the megatree. It's a carbon copy of what I hand drew here. except it's all done on one model. So that greatly simplifies things. So now we'll go into the sequencer and I'll show you where we still need to actually work on that model. I don't know what I had there, so I'll do a new sequence and quick start. So I'll come here to my megatree kind of subgroup. Obviously I don't have the spinner listed here, but because it's a shadow model, everything I do here will render on that. So I will start, I'll just put an on effect here. I'll make it red so it's easier to show up. And as you can see in the preview screen, I'll make this a little bit bigger. There you see both the megatree and the base are there, and we have the base, the spinner there. Now if I move this down to the base, you'll see here what the issue is. So I double clicked the base. That opened up the individual strings that I had assigned from my hand-drawn model. And now I'm going to just go through here the individual strings, and you'll see the issue. So the issue here is where the start channel, string 1, originates. On the spinner model, as you can see here, it's at the bottom. So it's at the 6 o'clock position and not the 12 o'clock. On my megatree model, it starts there at the 12 o'clock position, and they both go counterclockwise, but the base of the megatree is at 12 o'clock and the base the spinner model is at 6 o'clock. And the reason is the megatrees are all default to their start position is in the back of the tree. On a 360 tree, it's all at the back of the tree, that 12 o'clock position. So we need the spinner model to go to the 12 o'clock position. So what we'll do is, to do that, you just go back here to your layout tab, and we're just going to take this handle and rotate the spinner model 180 degrees. Now, when we come back here, you'll see the spinner is now, the start channel string 1 is at the 12 o'clock and goes around. It's not quite identical to how it lays out here just because my layout was done on a slight skew the way the street is and the perspective I did, but it's close enough and that worked just fine. So that's good there. All should be well, but we have one more step we need to do to make it render properly. And I can illustrate that with the spirals. So if I put the spirals here on the mega tree, I'll add another color here, and we will extend them out. There we go. So a couple things here. If you notice, and now it's kind of hard to see here because you have to look through the tree, the pointy end is wrong here. That's on the wrong side. That should be on the leading side for the rotation. So that's one issue that needs to be fixed. The other issue you'll see if I move this to the base. So if I move this to the base, my original base is doing spirals here. It doesn't look for anything, you would never sequence like that, but you can see here it shows spirals, and this upper section is doing, or the spinner model here is doing some really weird thing. And that has to do to how it's laid out as a start channel in here. So we'll start off, or not as a start channel, we're, let's see, what is it? Starting location. Knew it had starts in there somewhere, so that had end counterclockwise. We want it to be center counterclockwise. So you'll center counterclockwise and hit save. Now we'll come back here and we'll look at this, and okay, that looks good now. So we're mirroring that perfectly. And let's see, what did that do to the spirals here? Okay, this actually did fix it, so I didn't have to rotate. I thought I may have had to actually flip the model as well, but no, that's not the case. So that's really all you have to do, just one step there. So now we have the pointy end is now leading the direction of the spiral. It matches what we have here on the base, and if we come here and just put an effect like the spiral on the base, you can see this is a mirror image. So that's it. That was really pretty simple. All we had to do, as I said, was different from the original video, was we want to make certain our strings are actually set to the number of strings on the mega tree. Arms per string is 1, and you need to have the center counter clockwise for the starting location. And then once you do that, you rotate the spinner model so that this rotation handle here is on the bottom, and everything will render good. So hopefully that helps, clears things up, and this will really simplify setting up a mega tree with a bottom here. My next steps here is I'm going to scale this kind of like so and lay this on there, and I will go and delete those individual 32 strings. I'll just come here. We can start right now. Delete. And of course it can't do that. Yes, we know. But I'll get some of those messages as I delete things, but it'll all be good. And this is paired up perfectly. And as we talked about this, starting channels were just done a shadow model, so this all works. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.